Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Let me just make sure we're all good on all the platforms. If you're listening to this on the Move Swiftly podcast, just be patient with me. Starting a new format now to where the live streams are going to be added to the podcast later on. So I record the live streams. I record the live streams in the morning, Monday through Friday, and I'm going to start. Today's the first day in which I'm going to start just taking these recordings and putting them on the podcast, just in case, some morning people listen to it. So let me just check on the platform. All right. And LinkedIn, we're good. And let me just check YouTube real quick. So it's LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube to watch it live. And then, all right, good. LinkedIn, we're good. And let me just check YouTube real quick. So it's LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube to watch it live. All right, cool. So we're all good. We're all good. And actually, what I'm going to start doing is keeping it up so that way I'm seeing multiple screens. I'm getting my technology game is getting on point. Trust me. I didn't start off really knowing technology like that, but as I have developed in the game, I've learned that you got to have a lot of skills if you're going to be in the content creation game as heavily. So now looking at multiple screens and making sure everything is recorded, everything is live, everything is moving swiftly. All right, everything is moving swiftly. All right, so first and foremost, let me just introduce myself to anybody that may be new to me, new to my world. My name, Aswand Cruickshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time, soon-to-be 6-time published author and educator. What I do, what I created, what the business is all about. What we do around here is we take the lessons that you learn on the football field, more in particular, the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field, and we align them with businesses and organizations. So they have a team, they have a group of employees, they have a staff that moves as efficiently and as cohesively, as passionately, as eager as a championship high school or youth football team. That is what we do over here in a nutshell in the Move Swiftly world. And before we get into today's topic, which is a very, very special one, if it's your first time tuning in, you picked an unbelievable time to come in because I am recording what I like to call the first ever series in which I'm going back. It's the last day of March. And as I promised you, I told you guys a month ago on the last Monday of March, it's my time to hold myself accountable towards whatever my monthly goals were the previous month. And I wrote an article about I'm going to be revisiting the article I wrote a month ago, and I'm going to be holding myself accountable while also answering the Make Your Move kickoff question, which is, as you can see on the screen, what makes you exceptional? What is making you the exception to the actual rules? And I'm going to get into some personal stories about that as well. So before we get into it, let me just get through a couple announcements here and we will get things going. We'll get things kicked off as soon as I'm through with these. So let me just get through them real quick. First things first, free boxing lessons, West Palm Beach, Florida. If you're interested in free boxing lessons, I put those on every 2 weeks. If you are looking at this, if you're looking at the screen, you could simply hit the QR code that you see right there, or you can go to freeboxing.makeyourmove.com. That's freeboxing.makeyourmove.com, and all the information will be there for you to take in, and I'll provide you. You could just message me and I'll give you the location and all that kind of stuff. So that's number one. Next thing, business owners, as I expressed to you in the intro I do every day. I have a free guide. If you have not yet, go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com. That's freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Created a 10-step process, 10 bullet points in which you can be utilizing right now to make it so your business moves as efficiently, has the efficiency of, like I mentioned, championship youth, a high school football organization. It's important that you be very intentional with how you meet, how you interact, all that kind of stuff. So again, freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Also, Patreon. Tap into the Patreon link. Make sure you tap into the Patreon, patreon.com/as144. All of that is actually available on makeyourmove.com. Everything, one-stop shop for all your team. Hold up, let me get the right screening here. Where is it at? This one? Yes, this one. All of that is available. Makeyourmove.com. That's MakeYamove.com. As you can see, you can shop. You can join the Patreon. You can book me to speak, or you can simply learn about this dude named Aswand Cruickshank that's always online. That's always I'm always seeing talking. Or you can go listen to the #1 podcast on innovative teamwork. As I mentioned, this recording is actually going to be on the Move Swiftly podcast later on today, because I've learned as we're going to get into, and I'll just get into it right now, is we are making things a whole lot more efficient. You can't have a company and brand name Move Swiftly without continuously and consistently working to make the systems a whole lot more efficient, make things happen a whole lot quicker, and always constantly looking for ways to improve. All right, so here we are. Make Your Move Monday kickoff question. What makes you exceptional? What makes you exceptional? What makes you exceptional? What makes you exceptional? Plus, we're going to be talking about the monthly goals that I promised you I would discuss. I would discuss every month starting last month. So before I let the articles, and what I'll do is I'll put the articles out there. Actually, let me show you real quick. So as you can see, the date on this article, February 24th. That was the last Monday. Let's make sure we pull in our receipts now. That was the last Monday of February. And I put the monthly goals there, right? Monthly goals, February 24th. The receipts are there. You can see it. So let me just kind of give you a reflection on what has happened over the span of this entire month, and how I did with the goals, just my overall take, because this was actually the first month in which I'm doing this in a public way. And one of the things that comes with setting these monthly goals is it's so challenging to do it. What I've learned, and this isn't something new, all right? When it comes to setting monthly goals or setting weekly goals or setting any kind of goals, this is something that I've attempted to do in many different ways, many different occasions. And, life gets in the way. Certain things happen where you don't hit your goals. It's just life in general. And what has happened, what has previously has derailed me from actually staying committed to hitting goals and committed to figuring out first of all, how to set goals, the right way to set goals, and how to actually go about achieving them, and which ones are the right goals and things like that. What has been a challenge, and it's a challenge for anybody who is in a situation where they're single. I'm in my mid-30s, and being single was a very challenging thing. I'm not single anymore. I'm saying this because when I was single, it was very challenging to set actual monthly goals, because you can always give yourself breaks. You can always give yourself, as self-motivated as I seem in many ways, there could be, like, especially me during football season, if there was a certain thing I was supposed to do, and let's say there's a Michigan game on, or like a big game on, I'm not as persistent with that goal, because I know what my distractions are. If it's during a Redskins or a Commanders game, whatever it is, if it's a big NFL game going on, there's certain things I was supposed to do that weekend, but the game started. And then again, when you're single, you're able to do these things. But when you're not single, you're like, look, love the game, love, my team or whatever, but certain things have to be done, or I have to plan around the game and all that kind of stuff. So it was a challenge, setting goals. It was a challenge. It's always going to be a challenge when you're by yourself, or when you're in a situation that can be very that you can give yourself breaks. Like a big fitness guy, big workout guy here. When it comes to you working out on your own versus working out with a partner, you can always stop. You can always give yourself a break. So that's what it's like, and that's why it's so important that goals are something that you're setting, and you're doing it with someone, working with people. And I'm not saying you have to be necessarily a romantic relationship for that, but there can be accountability partners. There can be friends that hold you accountable. There can be situations in which you are making sure you're giving people your goals. Actually, one of the things that I do with the Move Swiftly workshops is I make sure that there are people in the organization that are finding other people in the organization that are holding them accountable to the responsibility or the determination of the goals that they set at the workshop, right? So again, monthly goals, really, really challenging thing, right? So in the past month, I have made it, it has happened that Aswand is no longer single. All right. So there were certain things that changed throughout the month that made me real or made me think about the goals that I set. So this past month, again, as I was hitting these goals, I was putting these goals together. I was also in the process of dating someone new. And now we're officially in a new relationship. And now you got to figure out how to merge the goals with, dealing with that and make sure she's included in these conversations. She's included in some way, shape, form, or fashion in the goals and making sure there's a supportive, mutual kind of accountability thing there. And that's actually what led to the question today, because this lady that, again, we're officially together now. Before me, she was a single mother, and now she's not a single mother anymore. I mean, obviously still a mother, but no longer single. But the thing about it was, I was very much the guy that was saying I would never be a stepdad, never. Like, I mean, that idea was posed to me when I was probably in my early 20s, mid to early, even probably as much as late as my late 20s, where that concept of being with someone that's a single mother was not happening. And there's a YouTuber that I keep up with. Shout out to Anton Daniels, man. I've been tuning in ever since the election cycle, and man, he's absolutely been a great listening to a lot of the work that he does. And he firmly against it. And his points about men, simping, like his words would be guys simping up and, taking care of some another man's kids and all that kind of stuff. I agreed with so much of what he was saying. But then I saw what he said, understood it, because that's the way I used to think. But then I looked at my current situation and I realized, me and her are an exception to the rule. All right. The things that we talk about and the ways in which we connected and how the connection kind of happened, really, it seems seamlessly. It's matter of it, like it was like a natural thing, to the point where you can be friends, friends, romance, like so much of the things that we value in life were just merged. I realized that this was actually an exception to what the typical rule is. So it got me thinking, okay, man, this is the actual key. This right here is the key to life. This right here is exactly the way it should be when you're trying to do something significant, when you have a standard about your life, when you start to really project and you start to live in these high standards of your life, that, okay, you're the exception, not the rule. And another thing that you guys got to understand is that exceptions are the things that prove the rule. Exceptions don't negate the rule, because what starts to happen is now people may look at my situation or look at and tomorrow I'll break it down into more of an athletic perspective. But you look at a person that's doing something that doesn't normally happen. It doesn't normally go like this. And then you start to make excuses as to say, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. No, that's not the way you should be thinking. You should be constantly asking, how did this person get to that point? And is it something I'm willing to do? What are the sacrifices? What are the things that a person had to do to become exceptional, become an exception to a common rule, and then move from there and be inspired by whatever story that is? That's how it should work. So all that being said, let's get into last month's article. And I'm going to read the parts in which I set the monthly goals, right? So I kind of already said this here, but let's go right here. And then before I even get started, I'll just let you know, I failed. I failed horribly when it came to actually hitting these monthly goals. And I failed. And it's one of those things where I'm never going to say happy you failed, but I'm really appreciative. I'm really thankful. We'll say, like, I'm thankful that I didn't hit the goals, because it gives me the opportunity to hold myself accountable, to get better, to reread the things that I put out there a month ago, and then This is how you get better. This is where you made your mistake. This is exactly what the issue was. And let's not make the same mistake again. Had a great coach. Shout out to Coach again. He was my linebackers coach in high school, who would always tell us, look, it's one thing if it's the one thing if you go out there and you make a mistake because you didn't know. But after we tell you how to do something, if you decide you're going to go make the same mistake, that's on you. That's when we lose our shit. All right. So I was so happy as I really reflected on it, and I realized I didn't hit the goals that I planned on hitting this entire month. I was thankful at the fact that it's first of all, it's documented, and it's something that I can go back, reread, and I could start to, what they say, practice what I preach, practice what I'm constantly preaching. All right. So here we are again. This was February 24th, 2025. It was a month, the last Monday in February. All right. Goal number 1 was to write the intro and chapters 1, 2, and 3 of How to Be a Wintrepreneur. For years now, I've probably declared myself as a 5-time, soon to be 6-time published author. Book number 6 will dive into a concept I've passionately developed and refined, Wintrepreneur. Every Wednesday for nearly a year, I've been defining what it means to be a Wintrepreneur, sharing examples, insights, and practical advice for business owners managing teams of 20 or more employees. Now it's time to put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard and create the written intellectual property that will serve my ideal audience and further establish my presence as a thought leader. That's what it says. That's what it says. All right, I'll put it up there for you guys to look at really quick as I get my technology moving on, my technology game on. So, true story. Here's what happened. All right, that day that this article went out, was the last time I actually looked at the article. So, I got so into actually doing the work that I didn't actually go and look at the article, right? So goal number 1 was not met. I did not hit goal number 1 because I thought that I had only put to write the intro. Right. I had tons of time to actually write chapters 1, 2, and 3, but that time went obviously towards, doing other stuff and putting other articles out. But I thought that I had only said I was going to write the intro to to the book, How to Be a Wintrepreneur. And I did the intro. I wrote the intro. It got done literally that first week in March. It got done the first week of March, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm good. Let's focus on other things. Let's focus on, because you got to understand too, when it comes to putting a book out there, writing a book, the writing the book is actually the easiest part of the whole thing. You actually have to figure out ways to sell it, who you're going to sell it to, what are the bulk orders going to be, who's going to buy it, who's going to sit down and read the book. Like that, that's really the point of, or the more challenging parts of writing a book, is how you're going to actually sell it. So what happened was I had gotten so focused on that, and I didn't realize that I didn't do, chapters 1, 2, and 3. So because of that, this is actually the goals for April now. You see the first one is write chapters 1, 2, and 3 of How to Be a Wintrepreneur. And yes, again, and this time with intentionality, I'll be revisiting this article again. Today's the date. It came out today, 4 hours ago. I'll be making sure I revisit this article right here. I'll be revisiting this article so I can hold myself accountable. All right. So you see, last month it was this. Write the intro and chapters 1, 2, and 3, How to Be a Wintrepreneur. And because I didn't go back and read this and make sure I was holding myself accountable and, doing all that kind of stuff, I completely slipped my mind that I was supposed to actually do 1, 2, and 3 of How to Be a Wintrepreneur. So that's number 1, right? Number 1, the receipts are there, pulled out the receipts. All right. So next thing that I was supposed to do that I wouldn't say didn't get done, just genuinely, realistically don't have the time to do it the right way. So when it comes to goal number 2, let me read it first so you guys understand. Being a published author comes with its realities. Without a platform or an agreement with a major institution for bulk orders, the success of a book hinges on the author's ability to connect with an audience through live events. Recognizing this, I've transitioned my podcast format to daily live streams. As you guys know, is what I said. Actually, that's something I actually did do. Embracing the need for visibility and engagement. This month, I'm setting my sights on either hosting or securing an event, an opportunity to speak directly, share my story, and extend my reach to potential readers and clients. Live interactions are the lifeblood of building a lasting brand, and I'm ready to make my mark. All right, so I'll put it up there. So it comes to number 2. I was ready to say that I didn't hit it, but the more I actually read that, there were things in what I just read in which I did do. As I told you guys earlier, these live streams now are going to be on the podcast, these things that I'm doing when it comes to getting in front of more people and all that kind of stuff. But technically, I didn't hit the goal. I didn't hit the goal because I didn't do exactly what it says right there, which is host or secure an event to host. And understand, when it comes to doing that, there's so much. It's so important that every day you spend a good deal of time dialing numbers, making calls, because basically you're a seller. You're selling yourself to speak at certain events. There are thousands of other speakers, thousands of authors, thousands of podcasts out there, thousands of people who do the work I do that are getting on stages for whatever reason. In fact, one of the things that I was talking about, I think it was last week or a week ago, again, some of these topics, it happens where, happens and then I'm on to the next one. But I was talking about when I saw what's her name? Middleton, I think her name was, the comedian who had this huge platform, who me and my girl, me and my woman went to see, and we weren't really impressed with her ability to make people laugh, but we were more so thinking about how she was able to get so many people to show up in a room and all that. So when it comes to actually hosting and securing an event and actually doing that thing, it takes calling, it takes actually going out, selling yourself, and making calls and doing all that. A lot of stuff that I realistically just don't have the time to do. Me being a full-time educator, me actually teaching at a school, and then dealing with kids all day. By the time by the time we get to 6 p.m., it's already a 12-hour day, and I have to be present in these kids' lives. The school that I teach at is a brand new startup school, and it's a business first. It started off as an after-school thing, and then it turned into a school not too long ago. So we're startup space, and they need more entrepreneurial minded people who can be energetic to the kids. And then again, I'm one of the kind of the unicorns in the situation where I'm one of the few male workers. So I constantly got to be a certain way. I got to constantly be on a certain personality. So I say all that to say, by the time we get to 6 p.m., it's hard for me to realistically make a bunch of calls. So the way of pivoting from that and saying, okay, we have to figure something out, because I got to adjust towards what my situation is. The goal is this month is, all right, let me read it out. This is a pivot from last month's goal, host and secure an event, right? So I have it right here written. Let me make sure I have it. All right. So we started here. You guys saw it, goal number 2. But goal number 2 here, this is a pivot from last month with hosting and securing an event. I realized that in order to get those hosting gigs, I need a proper one sheet to send out to most organizations. The plan is to email at least 20 organizations a day and pick a consistent day of the week to follow up with calls. That's a realistic and actionable approach I can stick with. You see how we did that? You see the importance of that? You see the importance of understanding, hey, great goal initially, and this is why I'm telling you I'm such an advocate of setting these monthly goals, because this is great, but the realistic approach towards, or the realistic possibility of my situation is I cannot make the calls that I need to make every day. So when I say create a one sheet, I have one. Let me actually show you what a one sheet is, but I have my thumbnail guy. I have my thumbnail guy working on another one, because this one's kind of old at this point. But basically what a one sheet is this that I'm showing you here on the screen. one sheet in which you could just send out to people in one situation, tell them everything you're about, what you do, what you speak, things like that. Now, like I said, this one is about 3 years old at this point. I think I was only a 2-time author when I put this one together. So what I did is I have my, my tech guy, and I call him my tech guy, my thumbnail guy, my graphic design guy. I had him create a brand new one sheet for me this month that can be, like you see here, sent to at least 20 organizations a day. And then you pick a day, and every day for a week, you pick a day during the week in which I can realistically make those calls and make those calls with intention. It'll be calls based on who's responding to the message that I send. And that way there's a productive usage of time, because I've been in situations where I try to just make cold call leads and stuff like that. And it's not that stuff isn't important. It actually is, because it helps me deliver my pitch. It helps me deliver like what they call an elevator pitch or an elevator delivery. The way I'm able to come on here every single morning and tell you what I do, introduce myself, tell you what I do, and do it within that, maybe if so long, to do it within 45 seconds. My name, what I've been through, where I come from, what I do now, and then the result of what you're going to get when you decide to invest in me. I can say that within 30 seconds, or maybe, like I said, give or take 30 seconds, 45 seconds, because there was a period in which I just be dialing, calling. My name's Aswand Cruickshank. I want to do this. I'm a speaker. I want to work in the professional development space. I was just doing that over and over again and getting nowhere with it, right? That action actually helped when it comes to delivering my own stuff and things like that. Like I said, always progressing. So that was goal number 2. That's where it was, and that's where we're at with it. To where, yes, I can say I didn't hit it, but at the same time, there were certain things as I was progressing to it that actually was productive towards the overall macro part of it. All right. So final one, goal number 3, attract members to my Patreon. All right. Inspired by yet another. And this is why I am such an advocate for paying for coaching. I think you guys have heard that from me. Let me get a sip of water. All right. This is why you guys have heard me say on so many different occasions, if you have the funds, all right, and the high level, I'm talking about the high level performance. You cannot name me one high level performer that does not pay for coaching. Pay somebody to absolutely rip you up and down when it comes to your business. Tell you what's not working, tell you what you're not seeing, and give it to you as direct and straight up as possible. All right. Because as I read goal number 3 to you, a lot of what I was told when I was a part of, shout out to Dre, who part of his, work on your game university, when I was a member of that, so much of that is going to come out as I read you goal number 3, which is the ultimate thing, the ultimate journey that I want to take business owners on, which is building out that community of business owners and taking them on a journey to the point where they're like, man, if I didn't meet Aswand, if I didn't meet this specific guy who has this vision and want to help with this particular issue, I don't know where my business would be. I don't know how I'd be successful. I would be completely lost without his work and his teaching, his system that I adopted. This is why, again, it's so important to really create systems. So let me read goal number 3. This is goal number 3 for, if you're listening to this on audio, this is goal number 3 from a month ago. All right. Again, inspired by yet another key piece of advice from Dre Baldwin. Put all your energy and focus on selling high ticket. I'm channeling my efforts towards attracting committed members on Patreon. This platform, which I discovered through virtual mentor Anton Daniels, there you go, that guy again, right, offers a unique opportunity to connect with individuals who value high quality content and are ready to invest in it. I'm gonna read that line again. Value high quality content and are ready to invest in it. who value high quality content and are ready to invest in it. The damn soap opera between LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith is not high quality content, folks. The shit you read with Jersey Shore and all the drama that goes on social media and the bullshit that happens, that's not high quality content. High quality content is you coming to a place like this and saying, okay, how can I put my business in the system and systematize my business and teach, be able to translate a lot of these teachings towards my staff. So my staff has a bunch of Aswands on it. So they're out there, they're hungry, they're creating, and they're taking initiative. They're taking what their work and they're applying it to whatever they want to do. And they're working towards making a connection. That's high quality content. Again, the bullshit that goes on, the Desperate Housewives bullshit that goes on social media that gets a bunch of clicks and likes and comments and all that bullshit, that's free stuff for people who are bored and have nothing better to do with their lives. All right. So here, what we're talking about is like, and there you go that name again, Anton Daniels offers a unique opportunity because I followed him, because I discovered Anton Daniels on YouTube, and he's always like literally every single video he has, he mentions the Teach Henley 30% off, 20% off for life. And then after he gives that promo, he's always saying, tap in with me on the Patreon link, tap in with me on the Patreon link. And they have this club, that club. And as I'm listening, I'm like, what the hell is I had no idea what Patreon was. I saw what it was all about. I'm like, okay, I need to figure this out. I need to get I need to figure out what the hell Patreon is and figure out ways to incorporate it in my business and things like that. So since that happened, again, what do you see every day? What's part of, let me move this real quick. What is actually part of my intro every single morning? Every single morning was part of my intro. That's part of my intro every single morning since that time, since following the right people. This is what I mean when I say I find the folks that are going to invest in high quality content. That's what you see every single day. All right. Just the truth. It's just what happens. Let's go again. I had to switch up the homepage on my own website to make it so the first thing you can do is join the Patreon. These are the things I switched up, and it's right here. And you can see it. It's all right there, ready to roll. Preseason, regular season, postseason. This is what it means to be exceptional. This is what it means to humble yourself, get to the point where you start to realize, look, there are other folks that are doing certain things. They're doing it better than you. Own up to it, learn from it, and say, I'm going to get better. Instead of wasting your time with the Desperate Housewives on social media and Instagram and all that other nonsense that too many people pay too much attention to. All right, so I didn't even get through the whole goal here. Let me start over. So this platform, let me just start from the beginning. Attract members to my Patreon, right? And by the way, it links to the Patreon. So this is it, the regular season. This is actually what the membership is. So if you're watching this visually, this is actually what the membership is: preseason, regular season, postseason. So just so we're clear, just so I have it shown. All right, let me get through the article because I'm getting distracted. All right. Inspired by yet another key piece of advice from Dre Baldwin, put all your energy and focus on selling high ticket. Channeling my efforts towards attracting committed members to Patreon. This platform, which I discovered through virtual mentor Anton Daniels, offers a unique opportunity to connect with individuals who who value high quality content and are ready to invest in it. With the insights gained from my first two goals, I'm confident I can create compelling value propositions. Another big one that we're going to have to dive into on a later date. Compelling value propositions that resonate with potential members. It's all about reaching those who are willing to invest in transformative services, and I'm eager to see where this path leads. All right, so let's go to this month. Gain one new Patreon member. That's it. Just one. First step in guiding ideal clients through the journey I'm building. I'm applying the flywheel concept I learned from Jim Collins. Small wins, big momentum. Getting the first member in will start turning the wheel and helping me attract and serve more clients over time. All right, a couple of things we got to break down when it comes to the Patreon and how how you serve people and how eventually you get to the point where the flywheel that I'm referring to, and just so you guys have a visual here, flywheel with Jim Collins. Let me put it up here on the screen for you guys to see. This is big. This is major stuff we're talking about here. The flywheel concept. This is, I think it'll be a whole lot easier for you to get a, yes, this is actually the perfect visual because it's all right, perfect. All right. I don't know who this person is, but I'm going to show you because I think he has a great setup. So, Good to Great by Jim Collins. It's a book that I strongly recommend you reading. Good to Great. Great business read. Any business owners listening, anybody in that business world looking to start up a business, this is an absolute pleasure to read. But he talks about something called a flywheel concept, and I want to make sure I show you obviously one that is working really, really well. Probably working the best right now, which is Amazon. All right. We have at the top, lower prices on more offerings, increase your customer visits, track third-party sellers, expand the store, extend distribution, and grow revenue per fixed cost. So you see where it starts, bang, 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 bang. So when you take it, this is what this was built on. You get someone in $10 a month, turn 100,000 a month. And when it comes to all the things they're actually getting throughout, this was inspired by the flywheel concept. Jim Collins, reading Good to Great. And the most difficult part is right there, as you see on the screen, is actually getting the first term, getting the first person to really believe in you. This is why it's so important when you're established. This is why I actually started today's live stream with understanding the importance of being in a mature relationship with someone. Not just, again, the romantic side of it is there, and it's obviously going to be very important, but also it's just as important, or equally, maybe, I don't know, you could split hairs when it comes to the percentages, but what's also incredibly important that you and this significant other are aligned professionally. You're aligned in terms of your physical, what you guys want to be, what the goals are going to be, what your professional goals are, how you're going to go out and achieve these professional goals. You're not just one of these dudes that are just saying you want to do this and saying you want to do that, but putting absolutely no action whatsoever in terms of your business, actually putting no action in terms of what it is you're saying you're going to do. You say all the bullshit, but there's actually no actionable things. There's no changing. There's no figuring out what it is you're going to go out and do. Right, in terms of how you're going to achieve these goals. You're just blowing smoke to keep certain people in your life and stuff like that. It's important that you figure out how you're going to start taking steps towards achieving that specific goal. All right, that is more important. That is incredibly important. That's what we speak about when we talk about the flywheel, because the hardest part of it is just getting a turn. Just getting it to turn. But if it's set up and it's aligned in the correct way, those goals start moving over and over and over and again. And as you can see with the Amazon example that, let me put his name out there. What's his name? Rick Kettner shared. You see where if you get it going the right way, the thing just turns over and over and over and over and over again, and it's never gonna stop if it's set up in the right way. So let's go back to the final goal here. Let's go back to the final thing that I put on today's article. Gain one new Patreon. It's one Patreon's first step towards guiding the flywheel clients through the journey I'm building, applying the flywheel. Right. So you get that first client, you get that first one, that first member, and you get them, let's say you get them in it. Let's say I give a free one, right? Let's say I get someone that is just a beta tester, and they get them on the preseason, and that beta tester now says, all right, look, I'm going to pay something. I like what they're doing, and their business is actually improving. Their things are actually improving when it comes to what I said I was going to do, the results that they were going to give, which is, again, the result that I tell you I provide every single morning is you will have a team, you'll have an organization that moves as efficiently and has the eagerness and the mindset of a championship high school or youth football team. that should be the result that they're getting, and they should be clear about what the results are that they plan on getting. And that happens for one client, happens for another one, and then you just start to see the wheels turning, and before you know it, it's like Aswand Cruickshank's the guy that you contact when you want to build a staff that has that eager and that passion. That's how it happens. And saying all of this, all right, again, I said went a lot of different directions today, but saying all of this is what makes me exceptional. And anybody that's met me knows I'm no different than any human being out there. I'm an actual human being. If Aswand Cruickshank can do this, can figure this part out, so the fuck can you. So the fuck can you. So can you. There's no excuse as to why you can't figure out what makes you exceptional. But you got to accept certain things. You got to be willing to fail. You got to be willing to publicly fail, publicly go out, publicly say, hey, I tried this. It didn't work. I didn't do what it is I needed to do. And I'm going to get better from it. I'm going to get better. I'm going to figure out ways to get better, figure out what went wrong, how this go wrong, what it is I need to do this, and figure it out. That needs to be the mentality, because if you're going to develop and go into this mindset, you're going to fail. You're going to get told no. You're going to get doors slammed in your face. You're going to get smacked around like a fucking, like a rag doll. All right. Business is not for the faint of heart. It's not for weak people. It's for people that got that alligator skin and will get punched around, take a couple punches, take a couple shots, get thrown around, and then get your ass back up and say, let's handle our business. That's what it's all about. And they got to have that trigger. All right. You got to have that. That's all it really takes. That's all it really takes if you want to really figure it out. But I'm telling you, and I'm going to close you out with this concept as we close out, make your move Monday kickoff question. As we close the whole thing out, I'm going to tell you what makes you exceptional. When you figure it out, you will not stop. When you really figure out the lane, it's almost like when you're driving and you've been stuck in traffic, you go here, you got to go here, you got to bucket here, got to do this. And then you see that lane that's open, right? You see that lane that's open, and I used to drive a stick. So you see that lane that's open. So, oh my God, sitting in traffic when you drive a stick is the worst, because you got to hit the clutch and then move this and do this. But when you're on the beltway and you see that lane that's open and you put that motherfucker in fifth gear and you riding after sitting in traffic, you out of there, baby. You out of there. And that is the same thing life is like. When you're on the road towards success and you see your lane, you see what makes you exceptional. It's the same thing as you being on that highway, being on the beltway, put that bitch in fifth gear, get up out of there, and you just going to the top, baby. You just going to the top. I'll drop the mic with that. I'll drop the mic. I'm on. This is how we do our Mondays over here in the Move Swiftly world. It's how we do every day over here in the Move Swiftly world. So all that being said, like I mentioned, if you are interested in, well, first of all, let's just recap. Let's do a quick recap, which is another thing I have to start doing a better job of when it comes to these live streams, because I'm thinking it's not just you guys, but I also have podcast listeners that are just tuning in via audio and not visual. All right. So first things first, make your move Monday kickoff question. First one, final one of March. And what we discussed today was just setting monthly goals, the importance of setting monthly goals. The question was, what makes you exceptional? And as I've expressed to you today, if you go and look at the receipts, and you can, if you have time, to go and pull the receipts of what I said I was going to do a month ago. Basically, we talked about why I put these goals together, why the goals were there. Again, you can go read that for yourself. And then I connected it and figured out where I was last month and where I am now, what went wrong, what didn't go wrong, what was productive. And just discussed all of that. And then doing that answers the question today, which is what makes you exceptional. And as I expressed to you, what makes Aswand exceptional is my ability to hold myself accountable for the things that did not get done. And, having that ability is what allows me to create opportunities for myself and talk to people at a certain level, at a certain way. And that's what's going to attract and bring folks into the business or into the company that I've created, into the organization that I created. And both of us are going to be winning together and creating results together. All right. So all that being said, main website to check out to dive deeper into everything I'm doing. If you want to dive further into it, it's makeyourmove.com. That's makeyaMove.com. It is a one-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.